Here's the thing about small towns. Everyone swears nothing ever happens. Lawns stay trimmed, sprinklers hiss at the same time every morning, moms fight subtle wars on Facebook, weaponizing emojis like grenades. But yesterday, something actually happened. Charles Bingley, wealthy, handsome, suspiciously single, moved into Netherfield, the grandest house in town. And like a limited edition sneaker drop, the news spread instantly. Mrs. Bennet was the first to catch it. Of course she was. The woman has FBI-level skills when it comes to monitoring the neighborhood feed. She didn't gasp. She didn't scream. She simply opened the Bennet family group chat and dropped the bomb. "Ladies, this is not a drill." Lydia fired back. "Is it about me?" Kitty. "Are we in trouble?" Jane. "Oh, sounds serious." Lizzie. "If this is another miracle diet tea, I swear." Mrs. Bennet typed again. "A very rich, very single man has moved into Netherfield. We will meet him. We will attend his party. End of discussion." Mr. Bennet finally chimed in. "How rich?" Mrs. Bennet. "Rich, rich." Mr. Bennet. "Excellent. Sell one of the daughters and let's retire." Elizabeth sighed. "We're not doing human trafficking jokes in the family chat again." But her mother was already scheming, and once Mrs. Bennet starts scheming, it's over. That night, dinner turned into a strategy session. Mrs. Bennet paced like a general before battle. "We need an introduction before other girls get to him." Mr. Bennet, eyes on his crossword, said, "Or we could not." Mrs. Bennet gasped. "Do you want Bingley to meet the Johnson girls first? Do you want him stolen from us by bad posture and worse personalities?" Elizabeth muttered, "We're treating this guy like a Stanley Cup drop." Her mother clapped her hands. "Exactly! You finally get it." Now, you should know this. Mrs. Bennet does not wait for fate. She manufactures it. In the time it takes to clear the plates, she had already texted Linda Johnson, who conveniently knows the Netherfield housekeeper. By bedtime, she had secured the impossible, an invitation. Saturday night arrived. The Bennet sisters were dressed to kill. Mrs. Bennet was vibrating with anticipation. Mr. Bennet sighed the sigh of a man who had already given up resisting. Netherfield itself was ridiculous. Chandeliers like weapons, velvet curtains, the kind of staircase made for dramatic slow-motion entrances. And there, at the center of it all, was Charles Bingley. Boyish smile, effortless charm, golden retriever energy radiating off of him like heat. He spotted Jane, and it was over. His entire face lit up. He said warmly, "Miss Bennet, I'm so happy you could make it." Jane blushed. "Thank you for inviting us." Lizzie smirked at her bestie Charlotte Lucas. "He's already gone." Charlotte nodded. Embarrassing, honestly. But not all men glow. Some glower. Enter Fitzwilliam Darcy. Tall, sharp, standing in the corner like he was forced here as punishment. Lizzie wasn't paying much attention until she overheard the moment that changed everything. Bingley, still giddy, nudged him. "Come on, don't you think Elizabeth Bennet is pretty?" Darcy gave her a brief glance. "She's tolerable, I suppose, but not enough to tempt me." Lizzie froze and then laughed into her glass. "Did this man just call me mid?" She didn't show it, but internally she added Darcy to her permanent burn book. Charlotte leaned close. "That was brutal." Lizzie whispered back, "He's not brutal, he's boring, which is worse." By the end of the night, Mrs. Bennet was already planning Jane's wedding. Jane was glowing, Bingley was a goner, and Lizzie? She had officially declared Fitzwilliam Darcy her nemesis. The man hadn't smiled once. He hadn't danced. He had stood there, a handsome statue with the personality of a tax audit. Some stories begin with a kiss. Ours begins with an insult. And trust me, this is only the start.
The thing about the morning after a party, in the Bennet household, it wasn't about hangovers. It was about gossip. And not just regular gossip. Full autopsy of every smile, every side eye, every crumb of, he looked at you for more than 2 seconds. Mrs. Bennet was practically levitating at breakfast. Jane looked like she'd swallowed a sunbeam. Lydia and Kitty were busy scrolling Bingley's tagged photos like they were CIA analysts. And Lizzie was busy sharpening knives for Fitzwilliam Darcy's soul. Charlotte Lucas came over under the guise of casual friendship, but let's be honest, she wanted the tea. She sat down, stirred her coffee, and went straight for it. "So, Jane." Jane blinked, all innocent. "What about him?" Charlotte smirked. "Don't play. You and Bingley." Before Jane could answer, Mrs. Bennet materialized like a stage villain making her entrance. "Oh, she was perfect, Charlotte. My Jane, elegant, stunning, radiant. And Mr. Bingley? Utterly smitten. He could barely form sentences. If this doesn't end in marriage, I'll eat my own shoe." Lizzie sipped her tea. "Relax. It was just small talk." Her mother shot her a look like she'd just cursed in church. "You wouldn't understand, Elizabeth. I understand you're already planning the wedding playlist." Mrs. Bennet clutched her chest. Details, details. A good mother thinks ahead. Charlotte turned back to Jane. "So, did you like him?" Jane's cheeks turned pink. "He was very kind." Lizzie groaned. "Just admit you're in love, Jane. Save us the suspense." Jane blushed harder. Mrs. Bennet squealed. Lydia yelled, "Called it." So yes, consensus? Jane and Bingley were basically pre-engaged. Charlotte, however, had other targets in mind. She leaned back and said, "Such a shame about Darcy, though. Rich as hell. Zero personality." Lizzie barked a laugh. "Oh, he has a personality. It's just locked behind paywall. Spoiler, it's unbearable." Mrs. Bennet waved her hand. "Irrelevant. The man's of no use to us." Charlotte gave Lizzie a look. "You're still mad, huh?" Lizzie slammed her cup down. "Charlotte, he looked me dead in the eye and said I wasn't enough to tempt him. Do you realize what that means? This man called me mid, to my face, at a party." Charlotte winced. "That's rough." Rough? It was humiliating. Humiliating. Lydia piped up without looking from her phone. "Loki, you're kinda obsessed with him, though." Lizzie whipped her head around. "Obsessed? With him? You keep talking about him." "I am actively hating him." "Same difference." Lizzie pointed her spoon like a weapon. "I hope your next situationship texts you up, on your birthday." Lydia gasped. "That's evil." Charlotte snorted into her tea. Mrs. Bennet sighed dramatically. And just like that, the official Darcy Hate Club TM was founded. Members: Lizzie, Charlotte, Sir William Lucas, more on him in a second, and Mr. Bennet, who didn't care but liked to complain. Sir William's contribution. Later that afternoon, the Lucases came by. Sir William, bless his awkward soul, tried to be diplomatic. "Mr. Darcy is a very fine young man, but very standoffish. I attempted to discuss the dance committee with him. He said, and I quote, 'How unfortunate.' Lizzie nearly fell off her chair laughing. See? No soul. Sir William shook his head gravely. He is one of those men who believes he is too important to enjoy himself. Too important for basic decency, Lizzie muttered. Mrs. Bennet waved him off. Again, irrelevant. Darcy may be useless, but Mr. Bingley? Mr. Bingley is gold. Breaking news. Jane gets a VIP invite. By late afternoon, Mrs. Bennet was back in her command center. She clutched her phone like it was holding state secrets. Ladies, I have breaking news. Jane frowned. Mother, Mr. Bingley's sisters have invited you to tea. The room detonated. Kitty screamed. Lydia demanded outfits. Mrs. Bennet looked like she might faint from joy. Lizzie, however, narrowed her eyes. That doesn't sound like friendship. That sounds like sabotage. Charlotte raised a brow. You don't trust them? I look like the type to leave one-star Yelp reviews about the water being too wet? Charlotte considered this. Fair. Mrs. Bennet waved her arms around. Elizabeth, you ruin everything. Jane, you will go. You will be radiant. And if you are asked to stay longer, you will say yes. Jane, angel that she was, nodded politely. So Jane set off for Netherfield the next day, and, naturally, because the universe has a dark sense of humor, the skies opened halfway there. By the time she arrived, she was drenched. The Bingley sisters insisted she stay the night. Mrs. Bennet read Jane's text update and nearly combusted. She's staying! She's staying under the same roof! Oh, this is destiny! Lizzie groaned. This is a trap. They're going to smile sweetly while plotting her demise. Demise? Charlotte teased. Yes, death by passive-aggressive compliments. The next morning, Jane texted again. She wasn't feeling well. Mrs. Bennet immediately shoved Lizzie's jacket into her hands. Go, check on your sister. Lizzie blinked. It's 3 miles. Her mother gave her a look. And? Charlotte smirked. Think of it as a romantic gesture. Lizzie deadpanned. Nothing says romance like mud and blisters. But she went anyway. And because fate is cruel, the first person she saw when she arrived was Fitzwilliam Darcy. Standing in the hall, looking at her like she was a surprise Amazon package he didn't order. Lizzie narrowed her eyes. Great. Now he was going to think she'd walked 3 miles just to chase him. Perfect.